the word alone carries a sting. It's the moment the world tells you no, the job you didn't get, the love that walked away, the idea dismissed, the silence that followed after you gave your all. But what if rejection wasn't your enemy? What if it was your teacher? Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, faced betrayal, loss, isolation, and still he wrote, "What stands away becomes a way." To the Stoics, rejection wasn't failure. It was fuel, a form of resistance that made the soul stronger, clearer, sharper. This isn't about pretending rejection doesn't hurt. It's about learning how to use it, how to transform every no into wisdom, clarity, and momentum. In this video, we'll explore 13 powerful lessons that will help you stop fearing rejection and start wielding it. This is not self-help fluff. This is ancient mental warfare. This is stoicism in the trenches. This is how to turn rejection into your greatest source of strength. 1. Rejection is clarification, not condemnation. Rejection is not a personal verdict. It's not a declaration that you are inadequate, invisible, or unworthy. It's simply a shift in direction, a whisper from the universe that says, "This was not your path, but another one awaits." When a door closes, it doesn't mean the house has vanished. It just means you're being guided to a better entrance. We are conditioned to see rejection as failure. But in the Stoic worldview, rejection is information, nothing more, nothing less. It's a moment of clarity cutting to the fog of our expectations. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If something is difficult for you to accomplish, do not think it impossible." Difficulty is not denial. Delay is not defeat. And rejection is not punishment. It's refinement. It's life removing distractions, illusions, and misalignments so you can focus on what truly resonates with your purpose. The truth is, not every room you enter was meant for you. Not every person you meet is meant to understand you. And that's not a tragedy. It's a filter, a form of divine sorting. When you stop chasing acceptance and start seeking alignment, rejection becomes sacred. It becomes a moment you stop trying to force your way through the wrong doors and start walking confidently toward the ones that were always meant for you. 2. Don't argue with reality. Align with it. There is no power in resisting reality. There is only exhaustion. The more you wrestle with what is, the more you suffer. Rejection feels like a confrontation, like life deny you something you worked for, deserve, or dreamed about. But the Stoics remind us, what happens is not the enemy. Your interpretation is. To argue with reality is to argue with the very laws of nature. You can break your fist pounding on a locked door, or you can turn, look around, and see that another path has quietly revealed itself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. You weren't meant to control every outcome. You were meant to respond with wisdom to what unfolds. Rejection isn't the world working against you. It's the world operating on its own rhythm, its own timing, and its own intelligence. And often, that timing is more accurate than your own desires. So when you feel the door won't budge, don't panic. Don't force. Step back. Realign. You'll find that peace doesn't come from having everything you want. It comes from accepting everything you need and letting go of what doesn't belong to you anymore. 3. The obstacle is the opportunity. We are taught to fear obstacles, to see them as interruptions, setbacks, delays. But to the Stoic mind, the very things that block your path are your path. Life is not in the way. Life is the way. Marcus Aurelius said it best. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Rejection, failure, disappointment. These are not signs you should stop. They are signs that you are being forged, that something in you is being tested, sharpened, awakened. The obstacle is the moment you grow not because things are easy, but because they're not. It's the moment you stop being entitled to the outcome and start becoming worthy of it. When the door closes, don't curse it. Ask what it came to teach. When a person turns you down, don't shrink. Stand taller. When life says no, don't retreat. Reframe. The block was never in the way. It was the invitation to climb higher. Sometimes what feels like rejection is life asking, "Are you serious about this?" And if you are, The obstacle becomes your training ground, your proving ground, your silent mentor. The opportunity is not after the obstacle. The opportunity is the obstacle. For people reject what they don't understand. Rejection doesn't always come from clarity. Often, it comes from confusion, from fear, from ignorance disguised as confidence. When you bring something original into the world, a new idea, a different vision, a deeper truth, it won't always be welcomed. People often reject what they're not ready to face, what they can't yet name, or what threatens their comfort. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You shouldn't give circumstances a power to rouse anger, for they don't care at all." And people, just like circumstances, often project their own limitations onto others. When someone rejects you, it may have nothing to do with your worth and everything to do with their inability to recognize it. Their rejection might say more about their own fears than your potential. Think of the pioneers, the revolutionaries, the artists, the thinkers who were mocked, dismissed, cast out. They were rejected not because they lacked value, but because they offered something the world wasn't yet brave enough to receive. Don't let misunderstanding silence your voice. Don't water down your soul to be more palatable. Not everyone will get you, and they're not supposed to. You're not here to fit in. You're here to stand true. So when you're rejected, remember, sometimes the world isn't saying you're wrong. It's saying we're not ready. And that's okay. Be patient. Be unshakable. Be the one who continues anyway. 5. Emotional mastery over ego meltdowns. Rejection stings most when the ego is running the show. When we confuse our identity with outcomes, our self-worth with approval, then a single no can feel like a collapse. The Stoics understood this deeply, that emotional freedom begins when we stop outsourcing our peace to things we can't control. You can feel the disappointment. You can feel the anger, but you don't have to become it. Marcus Aurelius taught, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you'll find strength. That is the core of Stoic mastery. Not emotional numbness, but emotional discipline. Not suppression, but sovereignty. The ego wants to react. It wants to lash out, defend, retreat, collapse. But your higher self, the still, quiet one beneath the noise, knows this is a moment to rise, not fall. To observe, not explode. To learn, not break. This isn't about denying the pain. It's about not letting it own you. Rejection is a test of emotional maturity. It's not about how loudly you respond. It's about how clearly you listen. What did this moment teach you? What part you got triggered? And why? The Stoic doesn't panic. The Stoic investigates. Because every rejection carries wisdom, but only for the one who's calm enough to hear it. Master your emotions, and you master rejection. Master rejection, and you become someone the world cannot unseat. 6. You can be rejected and still be right. Rejection is not always a verdict on truth. Sometimes it's just a sign of how early you are. You can be right and still be rejected. You can be brilliant and still be overlooked. You can carry something of immense value, and the world might still say, no, and none of that diminishes what you hold. Marcus Aurelius lived by principle, not popularity. He didn't ask, do they approve of me? But rather, am I living in alignment with reason and virtue? Rejection, for the Stoic, is irrelevant to integrity. It is merely noise, a passing shadow on the wall. What matters is the substance of your effort, not the applause. Some of the greatest minds in history were laughed at before they were quoted, ridiculed before they were revered. The truth has never depended on consensus, and wisdom has never required permission. So when you're turned away, pause, but don't pivot from your principles. Ask, is this rejection because I'm wrong or because I'm early? If your conscience is clear, if your work is sound, then keep going. The Stoic isn't moved by the crowd. The Stoic is moved by conviction. Rejection, in that light, is not a stop sign. It's a reminder. You don't need validation to keep building. 7. Use rejection as a mirror. Rejection isn't just a wall. It can be a mirror. And if you're willing to look, truly look, it will show you parts of yourself that success often hides. In the silence that follows a no, there is space to see clearly. to ask the hard questions, to sharpen what is dulled, to notice where pride may have blinded you or where precision was missing. The Stoics didn't fear correction. They sought it because every form of feedback, especially the uncomfortable kind, is a gift for the one who seeks wisdom, not just validation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If anyone can refute me, show me I'm making a mistake or looking at things from the wrong perspective, I'll gladly change." This is not weakness. It's strength. It's the mark of someone more committed to truth than ego. Rejection doesn't always mean you were wrong, but it might reveal where you could be better, more refined, more prepared, more aware. The insecure ego wants to argue with rejection. The stoic mind wants to learn from it. So the next time you're turned away, don't just move on. Look inward. What is this trying to show me? What can I evolve? What needs to be reimagined? Because if you let it, rejection won't break you. It will remake you into someone even more capable of rising. 8. Rejection humbles the ego, elevates the character. Rejection is a blade that carves away the excess of ego. It reminds you, gently or forcefully, that you are not owed anything simply because you desire it. It does not care about your resume, your charm, or your expectations. It strips you of illusions and brings you face to face with a deeper question. Who are you without the reward? To the ego, rejection is humiliation, but to the soul, it is purification. It teaches you how to keep walking without applause, how to keep building without praise. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, receive without pride, let go without attachment. That's what rejection teaches when you allow it to, not to diminish yourself, but to detach from what you thought made you valuable. In a world addicted to attention, rejection becomes a great equalizer. It levels your sense of self, not to tear it down, but to ground it. And when your sense of worth is no longer built on being chosen, you become someone unshakable, someone whose character is not inflated by praise or deflated by denial. Humility is not weakness. It's the hidden strength to carry on without entitlement. Rejection builds it, not by rewarding you, but by revealing you. And what it reveals can be gold, if you're courageous enough to face it. 9. Rejection builds inner independence. Rejection teaches you to stand on your own 2 feet, to stop leaning on outcomes for your identity, to stop waiting for someone else to name your value. It's in these moments, when no one answers, when the door stays shut, that you discover the quiet strength of self-containment. The Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look well into thyself. There's a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look." That is what rejection unlocks, not external power, but internal sovereignty. It forces you to meet yourself in the silence, to ask, can I still love my path, even if no one applauds it? Rejection is life's way of cutting the cords that keep you dependent on external validation. It's painful, yes, but it's also profoundly freeing. Because once you stop needing to be chosen, you become dangerous in the best way. You no longer chase approval. You move with purpose. You create without asking for permission. You become complete, not because someone said so, but because you decided so. That kind of independence doesn't make you cold. It makes you powerful. Because once you stop begging for belonging, you start creating your own space. And sometimes the most sacred kind of strength is built not in success, but in solitude. 10. Detachment is a superpower. The more tightly you cling, the more you suffer. This is the paradox of rejection. It doesn't hurt because you lost something. It hurts because you were attached to it. You thought you needed that job, that person, that answer. But the Stoic learns to move differently, not with desperation, but with dignity. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, don't hanker after what you don't have. Instead, fix your attentions on the finest and best that you have, and imagine how much you would long for these if they weren't in your possession. That is detachment, not indifference, but gratitude without obsession, desire without dependence. To be detached doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're free. Free from the emotional chains that say, I can't be okay unless I get this. Detachment allows you to give your all, to love, to try, to risk, and still be whole even if it doesn't work out. When rejection comes, the attached self breaks down, but the detached self breathes deeper. It steps back. It sees the bigger picture. It doesn't fall apart. It resets. And from that inner stillness, it moves forward, clearer, lighter, and stronger than before. The world cannot manipulate someone who has learned to let go. And that kind of power, the quiet, unshakable kind, is forged in the fire of rejection. 11. Rejection forces you to go inward. When the world says no, it invites you back to where the real answers live. Inside, rejection strips away the noise, the opinions, the expectations, and in the quiet that follows, you're left with one thing: yourself. Your doubts, your questions, your truth. It is uncomfortable, yes, but this discomfort is sacred. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "No ego is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." Yet most of us avoid that place until we're forced there. Until the outer world says, "Not now." That's when we finally turn inward. That's when we begin the real work. Rejection becomes a mirror. It shows you where you're still clinging, where you're still seeking worth outside of yourself. And it also reveals something else: your resilience, your vision, your voice. When there's no one left to impress, you remember who you actually are. Going inward doesn't mean retreat. It means recalibration. It means rediscovering your reasons, not the ones others gave you, but the ones you buried beneath their expectations. It means healing the parts of you that still think you need to be chosen to matter. Rejection isolates you just long enough to reconnect with your core. And once you've found that center, you come back to the world, not with wounds, but with wisdom. 12. Rejection teaches patience and timing. Rejection doesn't always mean never. Sometimes it simply means not yet. But the impatient mind can't hear that. It wants everything now, success now, recognition now, answers now. So when the door closes, it panics. It doubts. It gives up. The Stoics knew better. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "No great thing is created suddenly. You must do it slowly. Do not be in a hurry." Rejection teaches you the slowness. It tempers your spirit. It reminds you that just because you're ready doesn't mean the world is. Just because you've done the work doesn't mean the harvest comes tomorrow. Patience is not waiting with crossed arms. It's waiting while still working, still becoming, still believing. Rejection gives you space to grow into what you're asking for, to refine your craft, to deepen your understanding. Sometimes the delay is divine. Sometimes the timing has to catch up with your truth. So when things don't go your way, don't rush to bitterness. Don't abandon the path. Ask instead, what am I being prepared for? Because what is meant for you may not come easily, but it will come rightly. And the person you become while waiting for it, that's who you were meant to be all along. 13. Rejection is resistance training for the soul. Rejection isn't the end of your path. It is your path. It's not punishment. It's preparation. Every no you face is a weight you learn to lift, a pressure that forges resilience, a storm that teaches you to anchor deeper. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This is a Stoic secret. Rejection doesn't block your growth. It builds it. It's resistance training for the soul. It pushes against you, so you can push back stronger. The pain, it conditions you. The silence, it sharpens you. The failure, it teaches you what success never could. How to endure, how to adapt, how to rise with integrity instead of ego. The person who has been rejected 1,000 times but still shows up, that is someone who cannot be stopped. That is someone who has become unshakable. Rejection gives you the muscle of patience, the reflex of humility, the backbone of discipline, the depth of purpose. And over time, you start to realize it was never rejection. It was refinement. Life was shaping you for what you were truly built to carry. Rejection is not the end of you. It's the beginning of the real you, the one who doesn't beg for acceptance, the one who no longer chases approval, the one who learns to rise, not through applause, but through adversity. Marcus Aurelius didn't rule with entitlement. He ruled with restraint, with clarity, with the kind of strength that can only be forged through what you don't get. That's the Stoic way, to use pain as polish, To let failure refine your purpose. To treat every no as a necessary part of becoming unshakable. You've heard the lessons, not just to inspire you, but to arm you so the next time rejection comes, don't resist it. Don't curse it. Receive it. Learn from it. Rise with it. Because you were never meant to be chosen by everyone. You were meant to become someone so solid, you don't have to be. Which of the 13 lessons on rejection hit you the hardest? And why? Drop your thoughts below. Let's build a space where setbacks become stepping stones. Your story might be the spark someone else needs today. Thank you for watching.